Hello, welcome to the FPL News channel. This is episode 2, and this is a press conference roundup ahead of the FPL deadline. All 20 teams covered. Start Man City, Cole Palmer and Calvin Phillips are both fit. As for team news, then after that, Guardiola responded, "We have some niggles for some players, but the rest are okay." Very helpful. Unfortunately, nobody asked a follow-up question, and the embargoed section of this press conference won't be out till Saturday night, which is obviously post-deadline. If there's anything in the meantime before the deadline, I'll tweet about it, but we probably won't find out anything else. I wouldn't be overly worried about it either. Yeah. Not probably a big deal, whoever it is anyway. And I wouldn't be getting too worried with your Man City players. Man City are oddly enough going to Barcelona after they play Newcastle, playing a friendly against Barcelona on Wednesday night. It's a charity game, which is good, but it's really strange timing for it, obviously, in the middle of the season. Or, well, I know it's just the start of the season, but Guardiola's the same fella who'll be going on about playing every 3 days. He already did in his press conference, but now they have an extra game. He's talking it up. He's happy about it, saying it's better if players get rhythm and stuff like that. From what I listened to, he was asked about which players would play against Barcelona, and he seemed to get a bit muddled. And to me, it seemed he suggested that John Stones is going to play some minutes against Newcastle. He did not say whether that would be from the start or as a substitute. And for balance, Luke Williams, FF Scout Luke, who knows his Man City onions, thinks that it was a bit different. So he thinks he was basically just saying that Stone's going to play against Barcelona and that he wasn't actually giving away for Sunday. I'm happy to be proven wrong. And Guardiola is quite hard to understand at times, and he kind of mumbles a bit and stuff like that. So he could as well have been saying that Stones is just going to play against Barcelona, and he definitely was saying players who have played less minutes so far are going to play against Barcelona. What me and Luke do agree on is that we think the centre-back partnership is going to be Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake, so really there's nothing to worry about. The only other thing from Man City is that Sergio Gomez could be in the Gameweek 3 squad. Again, nothing to worry about from an FPL point of view. On to Chelsea. N'Golo Kante is out for a few weeks. Mateo Kovacic and Hermana Broja are both sidelined. Christian Pulisic had an Achilles issue but trained today, Friday. And then on Cucurella and Chilwell, Tuchel said, "I would say if we play a back four, they are competing for the same place. If we play a back five, the situation is not 100% clear. Ben is a clear wing back and Mark is both. Cucurella can play in the back three and as a wing back." So, yeah, I guess nothing new there either. You'd expect that he'll stick with the back five. Personally, I think even if he goes to a back four, the Cucurella will start because of his comments last weekend saying that he more sees Chilwell as a substitute, and Chilwell played for the under-21s during the week. But yeah, nothing totally out of the way there. Liverpool, so Gomez is going to start, all things being equal. The game's obviously not till Monday, but that's what Klopp said. Firmino's fit. They've no other injury returnees, so Matip, Thiago, Jota are all out. And Darren Núñez is suspended for 3 games. For Man United, Anthony Martial is back in training. Victor Lindelof remains out. Over to Arsenal, Cedric, Vieira and Smith Rowe played for the under-21s this week. Arteta says they're available for selection. No other issues reported for Arsenal, and Arteta praised Jesus' maturity and his improved English language skills. He's going to get asked about Jesus every week, so he's going to naturally enough be praising him. So that's just what he said this week. Leeds, some interesting stuff here. It's going to be late calls on Bamford and Cooper. Luke Ayling and Junior Firpo getting better, Jesse Marsh said, but they're not back for Gameweek 3. And then he said Forshaw, Sinistera, and Gail Hart are all ready to play. Some really interesting quotes on Rodrigo. I'll just read out an excerpt here. He's one of the guys that we know that will be starting. He'll wear the captain's armband. He'll be ready to take penalties. So Rodrigo obviously took the captain's armband when Bamford went off against Southampton. For what it's worth, I think Bamford's still going to be their number one penalty taker, but it seems like Rodrigo's clear second choice, and obviously Bamford's fitness is in doubt, so basically good news if you bought Rodrigo or if you're thinking about buying him. I suppose on the other hand he's playing Chelsea, so it's not a particularly good fixture, but good for his expected minutes anyway, for sure. On to Aston Villa. Stephen Gerrard was praising Buendia. He said he's pushing for a start. Also mentioned the positive impact from Bailey off the bench. Bailey and Buendia both came off the bench in Game 2. So he was praising both of them. And then on his attack, Gerrard said, it's not a case of having favourites or best front three. It's about horses for courses and what we think the game in front of us demands. Sort of giving nothing away, I guess. Personally, I think he'll probably stick with the two up top and that Buendia will replace Coutinho, but tough one to call. For Bailey owners, yeah, it's difficult. I don't hate having him in your starting 11, but I'd probably bench him if I still had him. But it's a tough one. He'll probably earn some minutes, but I would be kind of surprised if he started. But there's no definites there. Otherwise, with Villa, Courtney Howe's back in training, and Diego Carlos is going to be out for a significant period of time. Matty Cash and Coutinho are both pictured in training this week, so they should be fine too. Brentford, Christopher Ayer and Canos both still out. Pinnock seems to be a longer term injury. And Thomas Frank said Mikkel Damsgaard is not ready to start. Brighton, no fresh injury concerns. Their new left back, Purvis Estupinan, is going to be in the squad according to Graham Potter. He also said Neil Maupay is going to be in the squad. There's since have been reports that Fulham are close to signing Maupay, excuse my pronunciation, whichever one is right. So maybe he won't be, but not a big FPL concern one way or the other. Fulham, Silva said that he's going to have the same squad as last week, so that means Andreas Pereira should be fine to play. West Ham, David Moyes said Craig Dawson is not too far away. Classic Moisey, not giving much away. He said there wasn't any issues picked up in their European qualifier, against Freiburg last night. That was Thursday night. Again, I wouldn't be that surprised if there was a player or two missing or turns back up for West Ham. You don't expect him to, because Moyes really doesn't give much information, but that's the lay of the land with them. So Wolves, Raul Jimenez is back in training, but totally unclear when he'll be ready to play. So Laga gave a bit of a spiel, and he talked of having 3 groups. So first group, fit players. Second group, players returning from injury. This includes Jimenez, also Semedo, Traore and Moutinho. Third group, new signings. If you want to read the quotes, I've tweeted them, or I have written an article on Drafttown too. You can find that via my Twitter. But yeah, that's the headline news from Wolves. For Crystal Palace, James Tompkins, MacArthur and Nathan Ferguson are all ruled out, and no new issues reported. On to Newcastle, and there's going to be a late fitness test for Matt Target, and Ryan Fraser should be available. Over at Everton, Alan is fit. Abdoulaye Doucouré is going to be out for 3 weeks, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is back in the grass, but it seems like it's going to still be a few weeks away. That's all that Lampard said, that he was back in the grass, but that's probably on his own, and yeah, don't expect to see him back anytime soon, really, I would imagine. Those are all of Friday's press conferences, so there was 15, and then on Thursday there was 5, so we'll start with Spurs. Chris Romero is out. Conte didn't confirm a timeline. Reports suggested 3 to 4 weeks. After that, kind of, I suppose, news from the players' side of things seemed to suggest quicker, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. So it'll be a week by week thing with him, I'd imagine. Oliver Skip is still sidelined. Clement Longnay is now available. And questioned on the impact of his subs against Chelsea and for starts on Saturday against Wolves, Conte said, "We are exploiting this time," and by time he means the weeks that they have between games now when the schedule isn't as condensed. So we're exploiting this time to bring players like Richie, Richarlison, Longley, Basuma, Perisic, and all the players we signed up to speed. So that didn't sound particularly positive in terms of a Perisic start, but you'll probably see on Twitter that Paul O'Keefe, who's the guy who predicted the Spurs lineup right in Game Week 1, and possibly Game Week 2 as well. I'd have to check that, but I'm pretty sure Game Week 2 as well. But he predicted it right in Game Week 1, and his predicted lineup for Game Week 3 has Perisic in. So it seemed like he might start tomorrow. I think if you own him, it's pretty easy. Just leave him in your 11. I think people were probably doing that anyway. I was more so expecting him to play from the bench, but seemed like he's likely to start now. If you're thinking about buying, it's more positive, but there's definitely still risk attached, and like, even if he does start, you'd be very surprised if he got 90 minutes, considering that Conte said like on Sunday that he's not the Perisic that I know, which is like basically saying that he might not be 100% fully fit, but clearly he's ready to play minutes as well. So it's the outlook on Perisic is decent, particularly for owners. But obviously Game Week 5 is a midweek game week, so even if you're buying now, you have to know that when they've games every 3 days, which is, starting in that midweek game week, that his minutes are going to be shared with Sesson. So we'll move on to Leicester. Harry Barnes available. Roger said that he could start, but he's unlikely to play 90. I could also see Leicester switching to a 4-3-3 instead of using a wing-back system. Rogers also said that James Maddison is playing at the very highest level. And lastly with them, Rogers kind of said the speculation with Wesley Fofana was a challenge and that he wouldn't hesitate to leave him out if the mindset's not right. And since then, a report on Friday from the Athletic suggests that Fofana has asked to be left out of the squad, so you'd be surprised to see him in the starting 11 for Leicester. On to Southampton, Shea Adams is available. He only rejoined training on Thursday after picking up an issue against Leeds, but sounds like he's good to go all the same. Lyanko is also available. Romain Perrault is out. Walcott's a longer term absentee, and Hasenhüttl kind of sounded like he might continue with the wing back / 3-man central defense formation, despite switching to his more usual 4-2-2-2 against Leeds in the second half. So Nottingham Forest, Ryan Yates and Steve Cook are back in training. Jack Holback is still unavailable due to illness. And finally, Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke is set to be assessed. That assessment is supposed to be today. So fitness test for him. Rothwell and Fredericks, both still sidelined. Parker didn't report any other issues, and their new defensive signing, Marcos Senesi, could start. So that's all 20 Premier League clubs covered in brief. If you've managed to make it to the end of the video, thanks very much. Let me know how it was. New to this. And I will put links in the description to the articles I've written, and I've also predicted all 20 lineups. That's on Drafthound. You need to sign up, but it's free for 2 weeks. So that's pretty decent. You can sign up, have a look, no obligation. And yeah, if you feel like supporting the work I do, you can stay for longer. And if you don't, that's absolutely grand too. So yeah, catch you next time. Cheers.